What is up, YouTube? It's me, John Avenger, once again. Welcome to another Sci-Fi Month review. This is review number 2 of the 2001 underrated John Carpenter film that came out in the summer of 2001, and I really think it's an underrated film. That is Ghost of Mars. Yeah, I saw this movie last year on cable, and I just was blown away by how good it was, considering that this film flopped. It had it lost money at the box office. It was critically panned. I don't know why, because it should have been a classic like Carpenter's other films. This was Carpenter in the early 2000s. They could not expect him to do the same thing that he did with Halloween and freaking other films like John Carpenter's The Thing and vampire John Carpenter's Vampires and such. It was a different film for a different era, but I really enjoy this film. It's R-rated, so you have a ton of gore in the film. You have a really awesome cast that Carpenter worked with. Most of these people he never worked with before. You have Ice Cube as a prisoner who gets let out of jail, and he gets to kick ass. Oh, excuse me. You have Natasha Henstridge, one of the most beautiful blonde Canadian actresses I've ever seen. You have Clea Duvall. Yes, she was in The Faculty. She was one of the creatures in the movie. You got Jason Statham. This is when he had hair before he did the Transporter films. You have Pam Grier, who's a blaxploitation, legend. And there's other people in the film as well. You have Joanna Cassidy, and there's others too. Yeah, this main guy right here that looks like he looks like a freaking punk rock version of not Rob Zombie. What's his name? Marilyn Manson. He kind of looks like Marilyn Manson with like the makeup and the long hair. It's a really freaky looking guy. I really enjoy this film. I know a lot of people shit on this movie. They say it's the worst Carpenter film he has ever made. I don't think so. I think it's very fun. I think it's just as underrated as Escape from LA. It has a cool look to it. Yeah, it's in the desert, but it's done well. There's a lot of sets. Carpenter does a lot of good practical effects. Basically, these people can live on Earth. It's like in the 26th century, and they can breathe on Mars because it's more inhabitable, and there's air there, and there's these spirits that go into people that try to suck out their souls, something like that. And there's a lot of these creatures, these ghosts that appear that kill people. They like decapitate them and shit, and it's freaking awesome. This movie does not pull any punches. It is bloody. It is R-rated. They curse a lot in the film, just like a lot of Carpenter's films. It's not just exploitation. It's done very well. Considering that this flopped, and there were movies that were PG-13 that made money, like the Taken sequels, just makes me sick. I'm like, what kind of a world we live in where this flops, a Carpenter film, and Taken 2 and 3 will make a ton of money? It proves that some people are sheep, and they don't have any taste. I have taste. I loved Carpenter's films. I love the original Halloween. I enjoyed the Thing. And Big Trouble in Little China is one of his most fun movies, and this is one of his most underrated. And, Natasha Henstridge is a badass woman in this movie. She doesn't have superpowers. She's not a Mary Sue. She's not a freaking character that gets on your nerves. She doesn't whine and bitch like a little girl. Oh, I broke a nail. No, she is one of the toughest chicks I've ever seen, and I buy every second of her. She was Syl in the first Species movie and in the sequel. I've always been a fan of Natasha Henstridge. I love her look in this movie. When she has screen presence. That's something I didn't get from a lot of people I saw in movies last year. Hintity hint hint. And Ice Cube, I've always enjoyed him as an actor. He's a rapper that I think can actually act. I've enjoyed a lot of his films I've seen of him, and his recent stuff, like 21 Jump Street, and I have to still see 22 Jump Street. And I really enjoy watching him. He's a tough guy, and I buy him. Statham, great martial artist, great action star, and he fits in the film really well. It was either he was doing this to work with Carpenter or work on that werewolf movie that came out a year after this, which was Dog Soldiers, which is another movie I enjoy. And see, I can enjoy a Brit in a movie when they have screen presence and charisma and a voice like this, yeah. I want to kill them. I want to kill them all. He has an awesome voice. That's a manly voice that I buy. But anyway, this movie is freaking awesome. If you have not seen this and you've seen a lot of Carpenter's classics, give it a watch. You will not regret it. There's a lot of fun to be had in this movie. I don't think it's terrible. Give me a break. Carpenter knows how to shoot a film. You can see the action. It's on the screen. The budget was about $28 million, and it was on the screen. There wasn't terrible CGI that took me out of it. There wasn't jump cuts and bad, shaky cam. You can see what's going on. It has practical sets, makeup, gore, the body parts. It's a wild ride, and I really enjoy this movie. And for Sci-Fi Month, why not? I want to see it again because I got to hear this commentary with the director himself and with that gorgeous Natasha Henstridge right there. The end of the movie, yeah, this is just a little minor spoiler. It's not something that's gonna change your look on it. You get to see Natasha Henstridge in her panties, and she starts to suit up for war, and I'm like, wow, that woman is gorgeous. I'm like, you go from Species, and then you do this, and I'm like, wow, you have taken care of yourself, woman. And yeah, I would love to see her play Captain Marvel in the Avengers. I would love it. I don't want some freaking teeny bopper playing Captain Marvel in the Avengers. I want it to be someone like her because she kicks ass and she doesn't apologize for it. And just those green eyes, I can see them any day of the week. And my good friend Cole here, that he's from Canada and he's on the Sausage Factory. He knows what I like, and I love Canadian women, especially when they can act and they just sexy accents. Just so good. And she worked well. Carpenter used her to a T, and she didn't steal the film from Ice Cube, Jason Statham, and etc. But she's important to the plot, and she's awesome. And I will take her over a lot of the foreign actresses I've seen today. But this movie rocks. I decided to do my video on a phone because it looks my laptop has a lot of space that's not available, so why not? And this movie deserves it. This movie is underrated. Great sci-fi action horror. It blends all three genres well together, and it doesn't look like a cheap film. It doesn't look like a direct-to-video schlock. It's a fun movie. Carpenter, yeah, don't be ashamed of this movie. You have done worse before this, and also, there are directors that have never done a good movie, like Olivia Megaton. You, sir, are one of the best directors that's ever lived. And you should never be ashamed of this, because I'm not. So that was my review on Ghosts of Mars. Awesome freaking movie. Give it a watch. You will not regret it. Like I said before, use your own discretion of whether you want to see the film or not. But I would highly recommend it. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I've seen boring sci-fi movies. And by the way, this movie's running time is 98 minutes. It's not going to cost you 2.5 hours. It's not like Inception, where basically there's a lot of talking, which is good, but sometimes you want to get right to the nitty-gritty, and this movie does it in spades. Once the creatures show up and the guns start blazing, the movie just keeps going. It has a really fast pace, and I appreciate Carpenter for doing this. So that's my review of Ghosts of Mars. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and commenting. My next video will be review number 3. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but stay tuned. You guys won't regret it, so see you guys in the next one. I decided to do this without a hat to see my nice, clean-shaven head. So, later, guys.